Hi everyone, this is Crystal and I'm back with another day in my 2018 Week in the Life album. But before I get started, I just wanted to update you on a couple things. First of all, as I record this, it is currently the week that Allie is doing Week in the Life 2019. But this is not a typical week for us, so I've decided to push it back, and it looks like I'll probably be doing it the last week in May that overlaps into the 1st of June because this month is just crazy, and I want it to be kind of an accurate portrayal of our typical week at this point in our lives. So I'm pushing mine off until the end of June, and I kind of hate, or to the end of May, and I kind of hate to do that, but at the same time, hopefully I'll be done with this one by then so I can really focus on that album. Secondly, I made a couple changes to my Monday spreads. As I was looking back through it, I wanted to add a few extra little bits. I wanted to add some of these puffy stickers, so I just sprinkled those around here and there. I added one here. I also added a mushroom die cut because it's a picture of mushrooms, and I was thinking, why did I not add the mushroom die cut? That's from, oh shoot, I can never remember, Mostly Magic, that's what it's called. I can never remember the name of that kit. The Mostly Magic kit from Brandy Kincaid for Futurecraft. Added a few more puffy stickers here, and then I realized I had a little bit more to say. So I added an extra 4x6 journal card here, and I added a die cut on the front of it. This one is from Mark Your Place, and I popped it up on some fun foam, some foam adhesive to give it a little bit dimension. I added a little Avery index tab, and then I will add my journaling to the back. Right now, my computer is currently having some kind of stroke. It's throwing a little fit, and so I'm giving it its space and letting it figure things out. Yeah, I have a really old Mac, and I think it might be on its last leg, but I can't really replace it right now, so I'm trying to make it work. So I don't have that done just yet, which means I also don't have the title page for Tuesday. So I am going to start working on Tuesday, and then I'm going to come back, and hopefully my computer will be done with its tantrum, and I can actually print out the title page for Tuesday. So I have my photos, not quite as many, I think, as Monday, but still plenty to tell the story here. So I am going to put you on fast forward and get started.
So I've laid out all of the photos for the first 2 spreads on my table so that you can see what I'm working on. I was hoping this would make it go a little bit faster than the last video I made, which just seemed to drag on forever, and I was constantly taking the photos and cards in and out of pockets. So I thought if I just laid them all out and did 2 pages at a time, that was only it would only be one time flipping through all of these cards to find the ones I wanted. You get the picture. So hopefully this works. I know that it's a little bit off the screen on the left side, and I apologize for that, but not a lot happens on that photo. I think you'll be able to get the gist of what I'm doing when we get to that point. So I'm flipping through all of the cards. Again, all of these cards are from Brandy Kincaid for Feed Your Craft collections. They're all available on the Feed Your Craft website as digital kits. I think there's only one still available as a physical kit. But you can download the digital copy. That's what I've done for most of these, and then print them at home. And if you are curious about how I get good quality prints at home, I have a video, and I'll link that below, that walks you through how I do it. So I've picked out some cards. I have a couple extras because I want to just punch out the sentiments from those and use them as embellishments. And then a few spots for some journaling as well. And now I'm moving on to adding some of the die cuts. So the ones I'm working on right now, these are from Mark Your Place. And that was one of the kits that I did purchase the physical copy of, so I have the actual die cuts that came with that. And I thought about putting a book on this photo, the large 6x8 photo for the day, but then I found that teacup, and of course that was just perfect since it's a picture of a cup of tea. So I just found a little label, actually a big label, to stick behind that so I can add a stamp to that later on. And now I've moved on to try and find some other die cuts from this collection to use on my page. There's a photo of my book that I was reading that morning, and so I grabbed this Mark Your Place bookmark, but I don't end up keeping that. I end up switching it out for something else. Also, in an effort to make this process go a little bit faster, I took all of the die cuts out of the little packages I had them in and put them in this little bowl so that I could just flip through all of them. But I will say, at this point, I'm still feeling very overwhelmed. There is a lot here. I pulled out a lot of supplies to work on with this album, and I probably needed to narrow it down a bit more. Yeah, feeling super overwhelmed. So in a second here, I'm actually going to shut the camera off and just step away and think about it for a minute before I move on. I don't end up making a whole lot of decisions in that time, so you don't miss a whole lot or anything. But yeah, I needed a break. I needed to think about what I was doing. So I decided to use the punches on these two cards. So I have the one that says creativity takes courage, maybe? Is that what it says? Yes. And that's from the Make It Matter kit, and I used Fisker's label punch just to turn it into a little label. And then I'm just trimming it down. This is a photo of a purchase I made this day. It's actually this little spread. These 4 pockets are all about the things I bought this day, which turned out to be 3 different things, which is a bit unusual, but that's what is going on there. So this Maker Made card, I'm just turning into another embellishment using a circle punch. I thought the 1 1/4 punch would be the right size, but it was a little too big, so I grabbed my 1-inch punch and used that instead. And it was just a little bit too small, but there's nothing in between that I could use, so that's what I went with. These stickers are actually from Citrus Twist Kits. They're from a kit, and I purposefully set them aside last year so I could use them on this album. And I have one little sticker that I'm adding to my coffee photo for the day. And I actually left some white space on that photo to make it look a little bit like a Polaroid, just to add some interest to make it something a little bit different, and just added that sticker in that spot. And then I'm gluing down a few of the things that I have on the page that I'm pretty happy with and I know I want to keep. That way I can not have to shuffle those around too much. And what I just realized is that I didn't have a spot for journaling on this 4-pocket page, so I went back to my cards and switched out that maker card for this one with the pink border. I still can't make up my mind and just commit to something without looking through the whole thing, so I'm still flipping through, but eventually I just say, no, I like this, I'm going to go with it, and save some time. So I took the 3 journal spots away to my typewriter. I have a We Are Memory Keepers typecast typewriter, and I just use a sheet of scratch paper and add some adhesive to the back of the card and stick it to the scratch paper, and that makes it a little bit easier to run it through that typewriter. I just switched out the die cut I had on this filler card for another one from the Mark Your Place kit. It was like a picture of a library, but I changed it for one that is a book that says These Days, and I liked that a little bit better. So I'm gonna look through the stickers again. There's this little heart sticker that says today, and I try several times to get it on this page, but it's just a little bit too big for what I have going on already. It doesn't quite fit anywhere that I try to put it. So just looking through the other embellishments that I pulled out, those were also from Citrus Twist Kits. And these are little flags from Allie Edwards, and I want to add it to the photo of, it's from Blurb. I had purchased the Retro Hip Mama magazine, the very first one, and I just printed out the receipt from that. And so I wanted to add this red sticker to the top of it, but then I changed my mind and added it to the photo of the Peachy Cheap deal for the day, which was an October Afternoon re-release kit, and I also purchased that because I can't pass up October Afternoon. So I just added a little bit of a label behind it just to give it a little bit more presence on that card and make it stand out a bit more. And I'm just going to keep going through all of these embellishments that I've pulled out and try and figure out what else I can add to the page. I know I need something on the top of that pink journal card, and it's a pretty narrow space, so I was thinking that some of these little word strips would probably work best. And I did find one, and I'm about to find another, and while I was going through them I found another one to add to the bottom of that label I cut from the journal card on the photo next to it. And I did find a little phrase that said Tuesday, which is the day I'm working on, so I know I want to add that, but it doesn't actually end up making it until the next spread. So I'm also going through the circle die cuts. I've turned some of these into chipboard pieces. Again, I talk about that in the printing video that I'll link down below. And just looking through all of them, there are a lot here, and I do find quite a few to add to this page. There's something for just about every activity or topic that you could possibly be documenting in these kits. So that made it really easy to find relevant things, including an alarm clock for my alarm photo there at the beginning of this spread. I also have the puffy stickers from the Mark Your Place kit, and I thought there might be something on that sheet that I could use, but I didn't really see anything that would work. So I'm just going to continue to embellish, just stick things down when I'm happy with what I have, and layer up some of these circles on a couple of the pictures, and add some staples with my, it's actually an American Crafts stapler. It's a gold stapler that I added gold staples to. That was a trick that I learned from Jen Scow that keeps them separate from the regular staples that are in my tiny attacher. So I'm just gluing down all of these little phrases. Some of those, the gray ones are from Citrus Twist. They're from a past kit. And the other ones are from one of the Brandy Kincaid kits. So I will have a link in the description to the kits that I have used here. So something about this card wasn't sitting with me. I didn't like that background. I didn't like that it was white at the bottom. I felt like I needed a full card design, like a filler card design. So I went back to the 3x4 cards to see if I could find something. I thought maybe I could make that rainbow card work, but the photo ends up covering up too much of the rainbow and you can't even see what it's supposed to be. So I eventually go to my little stack of 4x6 cards, thinking I can cut one of these in half, which is exactly what I end up doing. I find a couple that I think might work, and eventually I choose one that has multicolored little lines on it, that one there, and I just cut it in half and then add the other half to the stack of 3x4 cards so that I can use it on a future spread. So again, I have to flip through all of them because I just can't, I can't just decide and move forward. I always have to make sure that there's not something better, but yeah, I end up still going with this one. So I'm going to glue everything down, and here in a minute, my camera actually died. I used my phone to record, and I didn't check the battery before I started, so it actually died, and I didn't realize it right away. So I finish up this spread, and I get started on the next one, and before I realized that I needed to charge my phone. So it's going to skip forward here a little bit, but I will come back to the spread and show you in a flip through at the end so you don't really miss anything. So here is the second spread for the day. So I've just taken all of the photos out of the pockets, and I've already chosen the journal card, so you don't have to see me flip through those again. And right now I'm going through that little bowl of embellishments. Like I said, those are all of the embellishments from all of the kits that I have. Except for the Mark Your Place, I still have those in a separate bag. I think I didn't have them out when I was putting these all in one bowl. But I'm just going through all of them, trying to find ones that work on these photos. And there are a lot here. Again, I felt super overwhelmed when I was doing this. Yeah, there's just a lot in these kits, and I have a lot of kits out. So it takes me a bit longer than I would like, but I eventually get it done. There are also so many cute ones. I love these die cuts so much. Brandy does such an amazing job, and there were so many that I could have used. They're very versatile in that way, I guess. So still looking through all of them. I will eventually pick up the other embellishments that I have out as part of my little kit as well. So while I'm going through all of these embellishments, I just wanted to mention that in case you didn't know, there were several of Brandy's kits that were re-released as digitals just this last month, and they're now available to be purchased and downloaded and printed. And there were a few that I didn't already have, so I went ahead and purchased those. I didn't have them for the first spread. I actually filmed that before they were released. But when I go away to go back to my computer after it's done with its tantrum to print that title page, I end up printing out the rest of those kits as well. So I'll have them for the Wednesday spread in this album. So even more things to go through and sort through and choose from. But I think I'm probably gonna narrow it down a bit for the next day, at least for the video, because it's kind of excruciating to watch me flip through all of those cards and embellishments. So maybe I will narrow it down to ones that are the most relevant for the things happening on Wednesday and just work from that. So yeah, still going through the embellishments. These are the little circle die cuts that come in a lot of the kits as part of the embellishment page, or as the little printable page that sometimes comes with the kits. And like I said before, I've turned some of those into chipboard pieces just with some regular chipboard that comes in packaging and a punch. I just punch it and then glue it together and stack them to get you can create the chipboard as thick as you'd like doing it that way, which is also kind of nice. So mine isn't super thick, it's just enough to give a little bit of dimension, a little bit of shadow around it to make it obvious that it's standing up off of the page a little bit. Okay, so I think I have the embellishments where I want them, or at least they're plopped down, and I will make the final decisions here in a little bit. But I wanted to go away and get my journaling done before I glued anything down, just because it's easier that way. And I have done that again with my typewriter and just taped those down. The one I'm working on right now that I'm about to add this TV to, it got a little caught in the mechanism of the typewriter and it damaged the bottom of it a little bit, which happens fairly regularly with that Typecast typewriter. It's not perfect. I love it, it's beautiful, and I love having a typewriter. I searched for years for a vintage one and just was never able to find one. So I'm happy to have it, but it certainly does not function perfectly. So if you are in the market for a typewriter, definitely keep that in mind. But anyway, it's still legible and my journaling is still there, which is really all that matters. And now I'm just going through and gluing down all the bits, narrowing it down to the things that I really want to include. I realized I had this photo upside down, so I flipped it around the right way, and I'm adding these little lemons, and I'll come back to that in a minute and add some handwritten journaling to that. I think it's important to also include some handwritten journaling in your pages, even though I much prefer the look of typewritten journaling. I think I will love being able to see my handwriting later on. So I had quite a few embellishments stacked up on each photo. So I just go through and narrow it down to what fits and what works best for the story that I'm telling here. Sometimes that's a few of the embellishments I chose, and sometimes it's just one. It really just depends. So I had stacked up 2 of these circles on the last page, and I wanted to repeat that here. So I've added one, and then I'm going to add another one at an angle kind of on top of that, so they're a little bit layered. And then again, I'm just going through with my gold staples and adding a few here and there. I think it adds a little bit of sparkle and shine, and it's also just another texture on the page, which in these pocket pages, I have to try lots of different things to get them to not look so flat. I don't like things to look too flat. I like there to be dimension and texture, so adding staples is a way to do that. And they don't serve a purpose as far as keeping things stuck down. They're really there just for the sparkle and texture. So I'm going to add some of these puffy stickers. These are also Brandy Kincaid for Feed Your Craft, or they're made by Feed Your Craft to coordinate with the Brandy Kincaid kits. They're available in the shop, so I'll be sure to link those down below as well. I just add a few just as an extra little embellishment in the white space of that card, and then I'm adding a couple lines of handwriting there, and that's going to do it for this page. So I went away and I was finally able to turn my computer back on. So I printed out this page for my title page. This is a card from one of the kits that were just re-released, and I can't remember which one it is right now, but I will link that below in the description. It was a 4x6 card, and I cropped it to a 3x4. I think that's what I did. I think it was a 4x6. And this is the Tuesday title. So that is a digital stamp from Ali Edwards that I purchased in 2016, the first time I did Week in the Life. And then I took that stamp into Silhouette Studio and cut those with black cardstock. I did 2 layers of black cardstock to make it a little bit more dimensional. And then I'm just adding another little die cut from the Mark Your Place kit below it, and that is my title page all done. I'm gonna stick it to the photo on the back side of the title just to keep it from moving around in that pocket. They tend to move around a little bit, I've found, so I just stick them together and that keeps it in place. And here is a look at the entire day. So you can see the few things I did there to that first spread, and there are lots of close-up photos coming up for you to see all the details. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can see future videos. Thanks again, and I will see you back here soon.